Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Nathan. Right over here is Stephanie.
Hello.
Here's Morgan.
Hi there. It's just very, very, it's just very NFR.
Oh, how's it going, guys?
Oh, how did that happen?
Wait, I have to quit.
You don't have to quit. You can keep.
I think I'll
talking like that. Okay. Stephanie, you got the question brought to us by Luda, Chris, Cheryl.
Oh, I love it.
What's our question?
What is your favorite ride at a theme park?
I love this question.
Yeah, that's good.
When you guys think of a theme park, what theme park do you think of?
I go to Holiday World almost
Me
every time.
too.
Yeah, that's where my brain goes.
Do you think
Good
of Six
job,
Flags?
guys.
I bet you think of Six Flags.
No, I think of
Pearsons.
Holiday World.
Oh, well.
Really?
Yeah, because that was the last place I went with the Pearsons. Was Holiday World.
Okay.
What about for you, Morgan?
Favorite theme park ride? I'm going to let people down. I actually am not a huge fan of theme parks. Yeah. I listen. But I do love a water park, which is why I love Holiday World so much.
But you have to wait so long in the line.
Okay, so what do you like at the water park?
Every one of the slides
Just
is
lazy
great.
river.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have done this thing, but you can like just chill on a river and
Go round and round and round.
I love the Mammoth, that ride. Yeah,
That one's fun.
I think it's one of the best rides in general.
What is it?
Any theme park. It's the big inner tube.
Yep.
That you get on. I think it's up to. I think you can get like
8 people.
Yeah, almost 8 people on it, and it's a water coaster.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cheetah run.
That one's not bad too. Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think the Mammoth is more worth the wait.
Oh.
And they're all every time. I mean, to get on those water coasters, it's like an hour plus. It's craziness. But
For like 2.5 minutes of ride.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, though.
I do.
Those are fun
I agree.
rides.
I enjoy it.
I love just a straight up roller coaster.
Okay.
Like the Voyage at Holiday World, that first drop is like 200 feet.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So like whenever it was like brand new, I remember we went and it was one of those days that like it rained just enough to cool it down and scare everybody off.
Yeah.
So we just got to ride the Voyage like several times in a row without anybody else in line. And I really loved it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Looking at it makes me pee myself.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I love that kind of thrill. I cannot do any spinny rides at all. It makes me very dizzy and nauseous.
I can't do any drop rides.
Oh, really?
Ooh. Those,
Like-
Nope. Like where they take you all the way up and then they go.
Oh,
poof.
like the Tower of Terror or the elevator.
Yeah.
I've been in the Tower of Terror, but they're not my favorite.
No.
Especially if you're outside and you can see yourself dropping. I don't like that at all. And I can't do spinny rides ever since I've had children. Like I will get instantly nauseous. But my favorite ride is like roller coasters, the Voyager and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then their new ride they had.
I haven't been.
I can't think of what it's
Is it
called.
the roller coaster?
Yeah.
The Thunderbird?
Is that the brand new one?
Yeah,
Yes.
the steel one?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
that you kind of let your legs dangle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That terrified me, but I did it and it was fun.
I rode that one once.
And did you like it?
No.
Okay. Because you don't like roller coasters.
Yeah, I have a really, really irrational fear of land rides, and I don't know why.
I mean, I can kind of get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I feel safer on the water rides. It may not be any safer, but I feel safer.
It feels like if I fell, I would still fall into water.
Yeah. Something would catch me that wasn't concrete.
Really not off topic, but wave pools, how do you guys feel about them?
I liked them more before I had kids. And now like they always want to be out there, but they always want to go further than they should.
Yeah.
And then they just all of a sudden realize they're in over their heads. And
And
it
then
just-
literally water's going over their
yes,
heads.
and they're freaking out and stuff. So then you have to pull them out. Anyway. Yeah. For myself, I think they're kind of fun.
Okay.
I don't typically participate in the wave pool. Yeah. I don't really have a reason not to or to do it, I guess. Yeah.
I think they're quite terrifying.
They don't scare me. I just...
No, I don't
Do you like
them.
the ocean?
Nope.
Okay. That
No,
checks out.
I don't like the ocean because of the salt water.
Oh. I like ocean. I like the ocean. I like ocean.
I like ocean.
Okay.
Like ocean water from Sonic.
Not so much that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's fine.
You
think
don't
I've
like
had it
coconut?
once. I don't really like coconut flavored things.
Wow.
High five.
good.
It was perfect.
All right,
It was really
we can
good.
move on
Okay.
now. 5 minutes.
We are in Grow, week 3, Matthew 25, 14 through 30. Let's talk about some big ideas. Morgan, what you got?
Use what God has given you to the fullest.
Yep. Stephanie.
Grow what God has entrusted to you. Don't waste what he has given you.
Mm-hmm. Mine, you'll be held accountable for getting the job done.
Get her done.
Get her done. Okay. Yeah, this is the parable of the talents.
Yep.
And it's one of my favorites. I find like several things about this parable to be very encouraging and challenging and helpful.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this one. What do you guys have context-wise for Matthew?
So I have that this takes place between the events itself. This is not when Matthew wrote it. This would have been like what he's writing about. So around 10 BC to 40 AD. And it's Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the surrounding Greco-Roman area. So that is when he is writing it. I mean,
What he's writing about.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. And it's written anywhere between 50 to 90 AD, but I would lean closer to the 55, 65 range just because we don't see the destruction of the temple.
Yeah. I think a lot of people who think that it was later kind of discount the idea that Jesus could have been prophetically talking about the destruction of the temple. And so they say like Matthew must have written it later and kind of put those words back in Jesus' mouth because, which, you know, that kind of, it discounts the miraculous nature of who Jesus was.
Yeah.
What else you got? Matthew prioritizes, he prioritizes the Jewish audience a lot.
Yep.
And especially demonstrating that Jesus was like an authoritative interpreter of the law, like Moses, that he was a king in the line of David. There's another major type. I'm losing it. Okay.
You said
But-
Moses,
Yeah, Moses and David and
Abraham.
maybe that's the new Abraham. Anyway, yeah, but these major themes of demonstrating Jesus as the Messiah and the one with authority.
Yep. Yeah, some of the things that I saw, just like phrases and stuff that he would use that would appeal to a Jewish audience was, well, not just a phrase, but he starts with the genealogy with Abraham. So
Yeah.
that would have been something that Jewish people would have not only understood, but they would have looked at that and been like, yes. And then he also refers to Jesus as son of David frequently, and is a more commonly Jewish phrase, kingdom of heaven instead of kingdom of God.
Yeah.
And we'll get to hear a little bit more about kingdom of heaven as we get into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, some high points that I think of whenever I'm thinking of Matthew's, we see the Sermon on the Mount in this. So Sermon on the Mount is chapters 5 through 7. So it takes up a big point. And, you know, last summer we actually spent a whole summer going through the Sermon on the Mount.
I forgot about this until you just said that. So there are 5 discourses, so 5 major discourses, major sections of teaching in Matthew, and the one that we're looking at is in the 5th one, which was what they like an apocalyptic discourse, the Olivet discourse. Sweet, let's do some immediate context.
So Jesus has spent some time giving like a prophetic overview of things that are coming in either the near or the distant future. He talks about destruction of the temple right before this. He talks about he's answering questions from the disciples about the end times. And we see that this setting right here is the disciples kind of pulling him aside, just the disciples and him, and asking him about the end times. What does that look like? And he's specifically talking about a time period where he's going to be gone from the earth. Disciples will be persecuted, maybe killed, and then and he makes it known that they're not going to know when he's going to return, which is super important when we get into our text today. Is his followers were supposed to be prepared for his return.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of interesting. Like I just skimmed through each of these like parables and sayings and stuff about the end times, and he actually does. He has 9 of them. So he has 5 short ones followed by 4 long ones, and each of them like fleshes out a component of what his return is going to be like, what the kingdom's like, what the end times are going to be like, and it's just really interesting to kind of like see them as a whole teaching.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So more immediate is he's sitting on the Mount of Olives, and the disciples have just came to him privately. This is not the disciples and all of the crowd. This is a one-on-one like conversation, I guess 1 to 12.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of times that he says, then the kingdom of God will be like, in here. So as you just hinted at, very much a view of like this end times, what it will be like whenever it happens.
Mm-hmm. We also have parallel passages. We have the one found in Mark and the one found in Luke. This one is more extensive. We see that just the way Matthew records is more like historical. He tries to make sure he gives more details than the others.
Yep.
Right?
Luke usually does more details.
Luke does normally.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, wait, right? No.
Yeah, but this is, I think Matthew's version of this parable is longer than Luke's. Yeah. We had like directly prior to this, we have like the parable of the virgins, that there's 5 of them who, whenever the bridegroom is away, like 5. So I had never realized this, but all 10 of them fall asleep. The problem wasn't that they fell asleep.
Right.
The problem is that 5 of them fell asleep without preparing enough oil to last until he came. It's as if they anticipated it was going to be a very short time, so they didn't think to prepare.
Right. And
then 5 of them who were wise, prepared enough so that their oil lasted until he came back.
Yep.
And so that highlights the importance of like preparing for the long haul and waiting for Jesus. But then our passage jumps in and like adds on to that, like what you're specifically supposed to do in preparation.
Yeah, because we see that the master is gone for a long time in this passage as well.
Yep. Okay. Anything else contextually before we jump in?
I don't think so.
Awesome. Okay, then let's do it. Do you guys want me to do like 14 through 18?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. What do you see in this setup?
I think, so we've got servants and a master, obviously, and the master's leaving, and he's entrusting something to these servants. And something super that I think is really important is, even though this word can be translated as slave, this is not how we would necessarily think of it in modern terms as a slave. This is actually super common that a master would entrust a really large responsibility to his servant or to the slave. They would do great tasks all the time for the master, and it's actually like a really smart thing for the master to do, to entrust the people who were already working there with him and for him.
Yeah.
I think this also kind of plays into the context realm as well. This is a parable. This is not an allegory.
Yep.
So we're not going through looking for how everything has a significant meaning to talk about something else. This is a simple, why can't I think of the word? Simple story to give a spiritual meaning. So property, we do see that he's talking about this is money. And the reason we know that is because of verse 15. So this isn't him saying, here's my land, which that would have been encompassed in that as well. But he gave 5 talents.
Yep.
So talents is a weight of money. Isn't that what we agreed on yesterday?
Yeah. So there's we were trying to figure out like, okay, so exactly how much money, like trying to do all the conversion rate stuff. Stephanie found a conversion rate that I don't know why, but she converted talents to pounds, not like the unit of weight, but like, European pounds.
Yeah.
And then from pounds to American dollars. I'm like, why?
Just an extra step in there for fun.
I think though the commentator did mean it 1,000 pounds. And my brain went.
That makes a lot more sense.
That does make a lot more
really
sense
does.
than
I think
yesterday.
so, and
Okay.
I think I was wrong.
Yeah. Because everything I saw was like, no, this is important, was pointing toward a talent would have been a unit that was valued at about like 6,000 drachmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would have been almost 20 years wages for a laborer.
What's a drachma?
That's also a form of like silver, I think. Yeah. Something like that. But I thought instead of trying to find the exact, like how much money would have this been in today's terms, it's like, think of it as 20 years of your work was one of these talents. That's pretty, like, that's crazy. That's a lot.
I mean, just even a couple or a year of your work. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then like this guy who gets 5,
Right.
it's like, so that's 100 years worth of work.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
Like more money than you will make in your lifetime.
Yeah. And
Is
he's
what
just,
he's been entrusted with.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
Another important part to point out is the one to each according to his ability. This isn't talking about like, I'm trying to think of how to word this so I don't make it sound wrong like I did yesterday.
Ooh.
But, ooh.
If it's wrong, we'll call you on it.
I know you will. That like God is recognizing that we're all different and he gives what is appropriate to each one. Did I say it wrong?
Well,
Okay, go on.
just keeping this in the realm of the parables, I wouldn't take it to God sees that we are each different. I would say that the master in the story recognizes that each of his servants has different levels of ability. So just, it's not a wrong application to say
but
that
yes.
God sees us.
Yep. No, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yep. Again, so I mean, this is kind of foundational, but like the first phrase, for it will be like. So first thing we have to ask is like, okay, so that for, like, what's it referencing? So it's referencing earlier whenever he said, then the kingdom of heaven will be like, and then he's giving another. He's just tying back to that. He's tying this story onto that. The kingdom of heaven will be like a man going on a journey. Yeah. Did you guys call out the fact that both the one who had 5 talents and the one who had 2 talents, they both went at once?
Yep.
Or it explicitly says about the guy who had 5 talents, and then it says, so also he who had the 2. So that could, to me, it implies that he also did it.
I think so too.
Quickly.
Yep.
Which I just love. It's like, they don't know how long he's going to be gone, so they sense an urgency. They're like, okay, well, we better do something with this.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a really good point because it doesn't necessarily say, it says he's going on a journey, and you assume with a journey that means a little bit of
tomorrow.
It won't be
go to town.
Right. But at the same time, they're like, hey, we don't know when he'll return, so let's get on it. And that's a good point. Also,
this is a crazy good return. If you think about like, they doubled what was given to them. That's impressive.
Yep.
That's impressive. I mean, you gave me 100 years worth of income, and I returned 200 years worth of income.
Yeah.
It's like, that's impressive. Impressive.
Yeah, I know we kind of talked a little bit about like the trading. We don't know for sure what he would have used to trade or how they would have traded. But we know this is using something relevant at the time. So this was something that the audience would have understood.
Yep. And then, so often in parables, we have sets of 3. That's a very common teaching technique for Jesus. And it's typically, you've got 2 that are like, that are on one side of the thing. And then you've got the third is the departure, right? And so we see that here. We've got 5 talents, doubled it. 2 talents, doubled it. 1 talent, dug in the ground and hid it.
Yep.
And so for them, a lot of times in these stories, they would have been tracking like, oh, wow, that's awesome. The servant did that. That's impressive, but maybe not even blown away by the return there, but just like, okay, that servant did what he was supposed to do.
Yep.
That servant did what he was supposed to do. Oh man, servant number 3. That's no bueno.
And you see like his immediate reaction is not to do anything with it. You don't have like a debate here of should I do this? Should I do this? It's like he received the talent, went and dug a hole in the ground and just buried it. Like, okay, yeah. You didn't even think about doing anything.
Yeah.
One of the other things I saw that goes along with that is that this was very common practice of burying money in the ground or in a field, like a field that you owned, for protection of the money. just because you would know where it was and you knew it would be safe there. There's the earlier parable in Matthew, the parable of the hidden treasure, that the treasure was hidden in a field for ground for protection. So what he did was not necessarily like a bad or a weird thing, just wasn't a necessarily good thing because it's not what was expected of him.
Okay, this is some conjecture here for a second. So, I wonder, in light of like the parable of the virgins right before this and the way that this is linked to it, I wonder if the people, if the guy who got the 5 talents and the guy who had the 2 talents, if they had a more anticipation that this was going to be a longer journey.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like even the story of the treasure in the field.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm getting ready to come right back for this. So I'm going to hide it overnight. If it was going to be a long-term investment, if it's going to be a long time before you come back, then it's like, I probably don't want to.
Right.
I just wonder like if there's an element of their expectations of time in this as well.
Yeah. Like how would they have, would they have went at once if they knew that he'd be gone for a lengthy amount of time? Or is this guy,
So it's like, I'm like, I'm much more liable to invest money if I know it's got long enough to mature.
Yes.
Versus like putting it somewhere, like, why am I going to invest this money if I'm pulling it back out of the market tomorrow? Like that doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know, just some conjecture.
I'm thinking if we're looking at like the whole parable as a whole, like thinking of he would have known the expectation that the master had for him. Because we do see that element later on in the conversation. So regardless of the length of time that he was going to be gone, if the servant knew that or didn't know that, he knew the expectation that the master has for him.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, I'm just tying it up, and this may be off. So this wasn't something we talked about yesterday. I'm thinking about like, because of the previous parable of so all the virgins knew the expectation of them, which was to be ready for the return of the bridegroom. The problem was that they had a wrong anticipation of how long it was going to take. So some of them prepared just a little bit, but didn't prepare enough. And the others that were in it for the long haul prepared adequately. So I don't know. I just wonder if there's an element of, as we think about the potential motives for the harsh words that this guy gets. I don't know.
Also thinking, like to throw a little context into the bridegroom scenario as well, that was also something that was very common in that time, in that culture, for the bridegroom to go away and then to come and get the women at nighttime. Like that was very common. So I just think it's really neat how he's using things that they would totally understand.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anything else in this first section?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we hit most of the points. Okay, let's do the next section. I'll do 19 through 23. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered me 5 talents. Here, I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you have delivered to me 2 talents here. I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also who had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, you have what is yours. I know I read a little bit further, but I wanted to get all 3 servant responses in there. And then we'll finish up with the master's response. Okay, what do you have in this section?
So, one, we know that the master was gone for a long time. And I know we hit on this a little bit ago, but they may not have known how long the master was going to be gone for. And then I just thought this was really cool. A commentator imagined the scene of it like this, where the man's eyes are sparkling, the one with the 5 talents, where he's just so excited and full of enthusiasm, where he's like excited to show the master,
Yeah.
like, look how much I'm bringing back to you.
Yeah.
And I just think that's a beautiful picture for us
Even
to
like
imagine.
excited for his master to come home because he's like got something to show for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I imagine that with my kids when they've done something really cool, they can't wait to show me.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
I think the thing that stands out the most to me is the response from the master to both of them, that he didn't look at the one who returned 5 in a higher regard than the one who returned 2. So they both get the well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
And you just see that they both received praise. They both received that gift / kind of blessing, enter into the joy of your master. And it's just really cool that it's because they took what they were entrusted with and were faithful. He wasn't like disappointed that the 2 didn't get more. I think that speaks also to like, he knew what they were capable of. That's why he gave 1 5 and gave the other 2 and gave 1 1. He knew that they were capable of handling that much.
Yeah. It's cool.
So I had a Spurgeon quote where he says, "This is not the servant's portion, but the master's portion shared with the faithful servants, not so much that we shall have a joy of our own as we shall enter into the joy of the Lord." I just thought it was a really good, like, tying in the fact of like the master is giving his portion as well to the servants in this.
In which part?
In verse 23, enter into the joy of your master, that portion. And then the faithful over little, I will set you over much. Like, he's giving them more of authority than they had before. And I think, so actually, Nathan, you taught this to me as like a parent, but with my children, one of the things I do is like, I trust them with a little. And then if I can trust them with that, I give them a little bit more. And, I really like that.
Yeah, that really is just a universal principle that can be applied. Whether you're thinking kids or maybe employee or something like that. Like, it's a good way to look at it of, here, I'll trust you with this.
Yeah.
And then, oh, wow, you impressed me. You did an awesome job and I can trust you to do more. Yeah.
Yeah. And I frequently have that conversation with people because sometimes we'll have people talk with us that are like, hey, I want to do this big thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, what I will encourage them towards, like, hey, so what are you doing, like, in the small, how are you being faithful in small things right now? Like, because this is the way we think about it. We think Jesus' leadership model involves being faithful in small things and being entrusted with more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, one of the commentators pointed out how like this was a change in status here too, with the asking him to like enter into the joy of your master. So we know that the servants at this time would have been like within his household, but there would have been this more.
Right. I just
raising
wonder,
them.
like, a lot of times it's like part of the household, but like, even Jesus, whenever he talks about the servants of the household, like they work all day and then come in and still wait table for the master and everything. It's like, I wonder if this is an experience of like inviting the servants to sit down and feast with him and stuff versus like waiting on, I don't know. It's just a cool picture.
Yeah. There's definitely something there of it being different though. Like it's something special that they're being invited into.
I'm thinking about so you've been faithful over a little. I'm like 100 years worth of income is what he's considering little, and I'm going to give you more than that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just pretty cool. Yeah. Which tells us that the master was very wealthy.
Quite wealthy.
Yeah. I also see like, so good, well done, good and faithful servant. So it's not like, he's not even saying like extraordinary entrepreneurial servant or whatever. It's like, you like did what was expected of you.
Yeah.
Well done. So it seems to be kind of what you're saying earlier, Stephanie. Whenever he entrusted to them his property, he expected that they were going to take it and increase it.
Yeah. None of the three were in a place where they were handed this and they're like, okay, what do we do with this? Like, based on his response, you can tell it was very evident and obvious, maybe something that they had done before or had been asked to do before.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like, I mean, if he's typically the one who manages his household and stuff,
Yeah.
and then maybe has them around doing stuff, they've seen him manage it. They know what he's like and the way he invests his resources and stuff. And we see that a little bit. Well, we see that some in the third dude's response.
Yeah.
That he recognizes that he's a hard man, reaping where he didn't sow and gathering where he scattered no seed. They know by their master's example what it should look like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely some blame shifting that the third one does, where he's like, I knew you to be a hard man. So he's like blaming the master for his own lack of responsibility, which he knows was entrusted to him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think something that like stood out to me this time is that in all three cases, the servants recognized that this was still the property of their master.
Yeah.
So the guy who made 5 more, he gives all 10, like the original 5 and the 5 that he gained, back to the master and says, "Here you go. This is yours."
Yeah.
And doesn't like claim a commission on it. Doesn't like keep any of it for himself, but recognizes like, yeah, I used my ability to increase this, and that was what was expected of me. Here you go. And then the third servant, I went and hid it in the ground. Here's the one you gave me. It's yours. Yeah.
And there's also this like point for me where I kind of could see that for the third servant. Like, yes, like we know that there's an expectation there for him. But to have that much money, like I would be scared I'd lose it. Yeah. So I kind of understand his like wanting to be safe with it and bury it.
It seems to be, so there's some question of like what's motivating him. Is it, he says here that it seems to be fear, right? I knew you're a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid and I went and hid your talent in the ground. I'm skipping ahead just a little bit, but then the master also calls him slothful.
Right.
So it's like, is it fear? Is it laziness? Is it laziness motivated by fear?
Yep.
Right.
Which I get that as well. It's like laziness and fear together make a pretty crippling combo.
Yeah. 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 That was where, again, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but that was where it really clicked for me yesterday as we were discussing it, was the master's response to what the third servant says. He doesn't say like you fearful servant. He calls him slothful. So it seems like there's this from his response where we see where he's calling the master out and trying to blame the master for it. He's like, okay, well, if you thought that, then why didn't you do anything if you think I'm just this cruel, mean guy?
Yeah, that should have been more motivation.
Right. Yeah.
So I had this question going into this, like he says, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid. What do you guys think about, and we had some conversation about this. What do you guys think about, what's he saying there about the master? What's it mean that he reaps where he doesn't sow and gathers where he scattered no seed?
So the way I kind of like interpreted it was, that sounded weird, but was that he knows that the master doesn't do this work, that he does the work for him. So,
okay, so it would be you reap, but it's your servants who sowed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I read it, is like he knows this is what he does. Like he goes out, he does, he has them do the work for him to make the money.
Which would be kind of like potentially accusing him of being like greedy or abusive, or just stating a reality that like, yeah, you're an entirely different class than I'm in.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like, what is the accusation he's leveling against him?
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, whenever I read this, I thought the reaping where you did not sow, I thought that was about like him saying you're a blessed man. So even the fields that you didn't sow spring up. And so you like, I see that you, wherever you look, you make money. And I was afraid of that, like afraid of failing that or whatever. Yeah. But I don't really think that's what's going on here. I think it probably has more to do with the power dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah, my mind kind of went to like, hey, you're the guy in charge of all this. You're not the one in the field. You're not the one actually doing the work. And to to like the servant, it almost feels like a slap in the face, or it just looks at him as, yeah, you sit up there in your house all day and we work for you. And that's the kind of man you are. And, you know, and you see that, I think we talked about that yesterday all the time of like big CEO, you know, and what people often forget is most of the time the guy got to that level because he worked his butt off for a really long time and did some of the low level jobs. And
I think also, I mean, so moving into the last section, do you want to read it really quick?
Sure. But his master answered him, "You wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I scattered no seed? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth."
Yeah. So for this part, like he's, to me, from like reading this and studying it, and I like chewed on it so much yesterday, was just this like, because there's a question mark at the end of verse 26. We know that there probably was not a question mark whenever this scripture was written, but there is like a pull towards it. But anyways, he says, "You evil and wicked man," or "you evil and lazy man," sorry. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and you gather where I scattered no seed. So he's like, you know this about me, right? Like there's a question about that. And then, so he's like, then you should have invested my money within the bank. Like you know these things and yet you chose not to do it because you're lazy. You didn't want to spend the time to go out and do it because you wanted to take the easy route of just not losing my money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that little part right there is what I was talking about earlier, is what really clicked for me, is he calls him wicked and slothful, and then he says it in this question form. And it almost, I think we talked about that, where it's not necessarily affirming what the servant said. We don't actually see him being like, I am that.
Right.
It could be more read as like, that's what you thought about me, and then you did this, like, and then calls him out on his excuse of, well, your excuse has no logic to it then, because your excuse is that I'm going to come back angry and mad and this and that, and I do this. And he's like, and you buried it in the ground?
Right.
Like, you should have known I would come back and expect more. You're just saying you were scared, and you were just lazy and you didn't want to do anything.
And then so what does he do? He takes the talent from him and gives it to the one that has 10 talents now. So why him and not the 2 talents? If there's like no difference in between the two, they get the same response. But why do you think the 10 talents?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't really have an opinion. I mean, it's like from the story format, I think the main thing that he's getting at is that the one who has, and it says this, the one everyone who has will be to him who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. So I think that's the main point. It's like you got to give it to one of the guys. It makes sense to give it to the guy who like had the most.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's not that he was more faithful than the 2 talent guy.
Yeah. And used to, the way I would study this kind of going into verse 30 is I would have said, oh, he's talking about sending him to hell. So verse 30 says, "And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In the place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." And that's not possibly what he was talking about, like hell. Yes, there could be that underlying factor, but what he's talking about here is like this servant would have been in the protection of the master's home. He would have been taken care of, even though like being a servant wasn't the best thing. It also wasn't the worst thing. For him to be out in outer darkness, that would have been like out of his protection and safety.
Yeah, and also outside the party that his friends are enjoying, the joy of their master. Yeah, so I'm with you. It's like as we interpret parables, we just want to be careful. So we don't want to jump too quickly to like, okay, so the master is God and we're the servants, and the talents are this, and then this means the joy of the master means heaven, and the outer darkness means hell and stuff. And it's like we can really quickly kind of like go through there and assign values to everything. But it's like if we're not careful, sometimes we end up assigning a wrong value to something. Most of those I would say are probably true, I just ran through. But making sure that we don't jump the gun on assigning a value to something.
Right. Or something that we've been taught our whole lives and then making that how we interpret the text.
Yep.
Because we can hear somebody say, oh, this is what this means. And then we cling to that. And so that for the rest of the Bible, that's that one thing that we think it is. And that's not always necessarily how scripture is written. So.
Yeah.
And, go ahead.
No, you got it.
I was just going to say gnashing of teeth is when you grind your teeth together. It's not you getting your teeth knocked out. Yeah, for a really long time, I thought gnashing of teeth was just this constant, like, punch in the face, losing your teeth. It's not.
That's the bashing of teeth.
I know, but I'm just telling you, these are things that I've thought.
Yes.
Now your turn. Sorry.
No, it's great. I think if we go straight to, okay, outer darkness, gnashing of teeth means hell, then we say, so this is how God decides whether people get into heaven or whether they get cast out into hell. It's like, that's not necessarily what's happening here.
Right.
Like, specifically what he has in view, he's talking to his disciples, not just to the crowds. And he's giving them an example of servants who are faithful and servants who are not. The servants who were faithful received a very positive commendation, and the ones who were not received very negative. So what he's trying to do is instill this idea of like, you have to like, I'm getting ready to go away on a journey. You're going to be entrusted with things that you need to be faithful with.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Like in the simplest form, it's faithful with what you're given. Good.
Yeah.
Not faithful. Bad.
Yeah, exactly. So then taking it further into like, okay, so if, so then if I'm not faithful with it, do I go to hell? It's like, that's not the point of Jesus' message.
Right.
Yeah. He's saying that it's bad.
Just bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like I'm trying not to. Yeah. So if we're taking it more into the application realm,
Sure.
This is saying like, man, in every aspect, in every way, we have been gifted or rewarded or given something, right? And we're supposed to use it to the best of our abilities to further the kingdom.
Yeah. So I think the first step of application I would make is we are servants of a master, and we've been entrusted with something that whenever he returns, he will expect a return on it. So that's the first thing. That's the first step of application, and then the next step would be, so what have we been entrusted with?
Right.
Like, what do we know from the truth of Scripture that we've been entrusted with, and what would they have understood that to be? It's like, and it's at least the truth of the gospel, the message of the kingdom that they were supposed to do something with. They're not just supposed to sit around on their hands as his disciples. They're not just supposed to sit around on their hands and wait for him to come back and bury it in the ground.
Right.
It's similar to the like, no one lights a lamp and then hides it under a basket, right? Like, that's dumb. Hide it under a bushel.
Yes.
No. You said yes.
No.
The answer is no.
No, because I'm thinking of the bushel. But remember how I thought it was a bush?
Yeah.
Last year, it's fine. I thought a bushel was a bush and it's a basket. Because if you hide a light under a bush, it would catch on fire.
It would catch on fire, and then you've got a Moses situation. God?
Is that
And
you?
I'm just like, man, you've been burning some bush. Okay. So then in this, it's at least the truth of the gospel that they're supposed to invest.
Yeah.
But also, I think when we see from Scripture, we also see what else have we been given by God? We've been entrusted with spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
We've been entrusted with like financial resources.
Yep.
We've been entrusted with the gift of life and time and relationships and just natural abilities and stuff. And so I think it's totally fair to expand that out and say that everything that we have is a good gift from our perfect Father who does not change.
Yeah.
And he like expects us to use it for the return of like gospel advancement.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I had a very similar like takeaway from it is, everything that I have, it's not mine. It's been given to me. And so in return, how can I use what I have, whether it's resources, whether it's ability, whether it's money, whatever, how can I use that to further the kingdom of God is kind of the expectation.
And that should be the way that we view the things that have been given to us.
Yep.
Is like, how can we utilize this to further the kingdom? And then there's also this, like, for me reading this like stepping out in faith of knowing that he's going to be faithful to us. Not saying that we're going to get this huge amount of money back or anything like that,
Right.
but sometimes like taking those risks for the Lord is worth it.
Yeah.
Yep. I also think there's something significant with the 5 and the 2 getting the same like commendation.
Yep.
Because I think we can have a temptation to look at someone else and someone else who has a different level of ability.
Yep.
It's like, if he's saying that is just the reality of the way the world works, it's like, this person may always be a better like guitarist or vocalist than me. They may be a better speaker, presenters, theologian, whatever. Like
Right.
all these things, they may always be better than me. Like, I'm not judged based on their ability. I'm judged based on what's been given to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I brought this up yesterday, but maybe this may like touch a podcaster in some way, shape, or form. So the very first time I ever studied this, I studied it from a very allegorical end times, like this is God. And it's not saying that those things aren't that, but we should be studying it for the first time of looking at it for what is he trying to say in this message. And personally, for me, like this has been over a year that we studied this, and I'm like, man, I've grown. And like as we're in this season of grow, I just really,
I just celebrate.
Yeah,
It's one of those moments of like feeling a little bit of that well done, good and faithful servant that you've used what he's given you and it's grown.
Yeah, and utilizing like the people that God has put around me to help me grow, and so just that little nudge.
And then on the flip side, the warning of this is that like you've been given things, and if you either out of fear or laziness, like don't use them for the kingdom. Yeah. It's not a neutral thing. It's a negative thing.
It's bad.
It's bad. Yeah. Cool. Anything else, you guys? Awesome. Yeah, I love this text. I think it's a really good one whenever we think about grow. And one of the ways that I encourage people to engage growing is like just to kind of do an inventory or an audit. Like, what are the things you've been given? Your gifts, abilities, relationships, resources, and ask yourself, like, how am I doing investing these for the kingdom? You know? And that's just a really simple way to, just sit down with a piece of paper and write out. So
Love that.
it's a good way to do it. Okay. I think that gets it. So
I think so.
Thank you guys for listening. As always, if you have notes or thoughts, we would love to hear them. warehouse@cornerstone.team. Send us an email. Until next time, we will catch you on the flippity flop.
Sounds fantastic.
Right.
Right. That's all, folks.